Alright guys, Raw Rustler here, and today I'll be reviewing the September 7th editions of NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic. Of course, NXT this week would be the return to the ring of Shinsuke Nakamura, his first appearance, his first match since he won the NXT title at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. The CWC this week would be the 9th episode, the second to last, and the last quarter final, of course, going to next week's 2-hour semi-final and finale, well, final, where apparently there'll be more than just Cruiserweight Classic matches, which we found out on NXT. But anyway, let's start off with NXT. I also plan on predicting Backlash at the end of this video, so I'm going to be running through it at more of a brisk pace. So NXT kicked off with TM61, Nick Miller and Shane Thorne taking on the unlikely duo of Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari. Now, of course, these were two Cruiserweight Classic competitors, and neither has been showcased yet as part of the Raw Cruiserweight division. So my worry is that these guys will just be part of the NXT, you know, the guys that are just going to come in for a couple of appearances, like, say, the Drew Gulak, Kota Ibushi, and probably Zack Sabre Jr. But hey-ho, they got this chance in NXT to work with a good team in TM61, and I actually thought this was a good matchup. TM61 play baby faces to the heels, which Tony Nese can play a very good heel, and with Daivari, who I said very long ago, it seems like so long ago that Daivari was in the Cruiserweight Classic, Daivari was a very good heel, so working with Tony Nese, they had a very good heel dynamic. But in the end, of course, the big military press spinebuster, double military press spinebuster, to give the win to TM61 as they advance up the ranks of the tag team division in NXT. I imagine they will be the next competitors to the Revival's tag team titles. If they will win, I don't quite know. But 3 stars, I thought this was a good matchup, a good way to kick off the show. One of the best matches I've seen in NXT in quite some time. Then we had Tom Phillips interviewing Asuka, and this might have been my favourite segment on the whole show. Asuka's English, of course, is not great, but she knows enough to the point where she can get a character across, and she can she can present intimidation. So she talks about how she's cleared out the women's division, she's beaten Dana Brooke, Emma, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Eve Marie, Bayley. She's beaten everyone in the women's division, and there's no one left, basically. And then when Tom Phillips asks, who do you think in this women's division now, which, God, there's no one, is going to be the next challenger? And Asuka just says, no one. And it's just like, yeah, it's great, because you're totally right. No one in this women's division is good enough to face Asuka at this moment. Ember Moon needs a month or 2 more to really find her footing in NXT. But, I mean, she's the closest, even though it looks like they're going to be pushing Liv Morgan. So, Liv Morgan's rubbish. Anyway, good segment. Then we had Steve Cutler being interviewed. I couldn't really care. Then we had a matchup. It was Leah Vaughn, and I had no idea what this woman's name was. As this match went on, the commentators kept saying stuff, and I had no idea what this woman's name was until the very end of the match, where they said Leah Vaughn. Or Leah Fawn. It was one of them, I had no idea. But Leah Vaughn, or whatever, would take on Ember Moon. Of course, Ember Moon in the end would win with the O-face, the leaping, twisting cutter, or leaping, twisting stunner. Very cool move. I'm not going to rate the matchup, it wasn't very long. The other chick, Leah Vaughn, or whatever, she wasn't very good. I didn't really like her. Then we had No Way Jose being interviewed. He talked about Bobby Roode disrespecting him, and a match was set for next week. Bobby Roode and No Way Jose. That should be fun. Then we had a package for the Revival, who weren't on this show. They weren't on the show last week either. So I imagine that the Revival now will go against probably Gargano and Ciampa again, going off the next segment, or TM61, even though they did beat TM61 before Brooklyn. So anyway, the next segment was Ciampa in the trainer's room after his beatdown last week at the hands of the Revival. Johnny Gargano would turn up and say that William Regal is giving us an opportunity at the Cruiserweight Classic finale. And he didn't say what the opportunity was. He didn't say if it was against the Revival. But I feel like they're going to split. And if they're going to split, that's great, because Ciampa's going to be such a phenomenal heel, and the feud is going to be great. But I mean, I get why they're doing it at the Cruiserweight Classic finale. It's where they had that great moment in week 4 where they hugged in the ring, but I would save that for an NXT show because I don't know. It's interesting. But anyway, it seems like Gargano and Ciampa are going to be having a matchup at the Cruiserweight Classic finale next week. So, who they're going to face, I have no idea. Probably some Cruiserweight Classic guys, so it should be a pretty good match. Then we had our third match on the show, Cien taking on Austin Aries. Cien has dropped the hat and the suspenders. Thank God. I do actually like the new Cien shirt. I'm not going to buy it, but I like it. Danny Bryan's shirt today, I felt like this covers CWC and SmackDown, so... yeah, I thought this was a good matchup. Well, decent. I've probably overrated it a little bit. I'll give it 2 3/4 stars. It wasn't as good as the opener. It wasn't as fast paced. In the end, Cien went good finish. Cien went for a springboard double drop kick. Aries would counter that, hit him with a big power bomb, and then immediately lock in the last chancery for the win. Andrade Almas has really his stock has dropped. They need to build him up again without the stupid gimmick. He has the music, which I find catchy, but it's still kind of dumb. But decent matchup, 2 3/4 stars, Austin Aries wins. That's probably how it should have gone, to be honest. Then we had another Insanity promo. I still have no idea who this is. It seems like it's going to be a stable. With the recent signings of Mary Dobson, Tommy End, and Eric Young, it seems like it could be a stable, or it could just be any of the 3. They all have gimmicks that work. I mean, Eric Young was the Maniac in TNA. Tommy End, in PWG is a bit wacky, and Crazy Mary Dobson kind of sums that up. But anyway, whoever it is, it's going to be somewhat exciting. Then we had Steve Cutler and Nakamura as our main event of the show. This was fine. It didn't last very long. It lasted about 3 minutes, so I'm not going to rate it. In the end, Nakamura won with a Kinshasa. Samoa Joe was on commentary this week, and his commentary to me was weird because I liked it at the beginning. I liked how he seemed very flustered, that he was looking at Nakamura with his title, and that made him very, very sad, and he just couldn't speak. But as it went on, it just seemed to me like he was tired, and he couldn't really cover that up, and he just walked away after the matchup. So a little bit weird, a little bit awkward I felt at the end, but anyway, Nakamura ends the show beating Steve Cutler. So Steve Cutler's push has been nulled, thank Christ. So that was NXT this week. I thought a good show, actually. I enjoyed the opener quite a bit. I enjoyed the Aries match, and I thought the Asuka promo was good. So good stuff there from NXT. My throat is dying again. Moving on to the Cruiserweight Classic, we only had 2 matches, of course, our second of 2 quarterfinal shows. And we start off with Noam Dar against Zack Sabre Jr. I really, really loved this matchup because I felt like these two guys... well, actually, let me get the negatives out of the way first. The beginning was very odd because they tried to have that intensity that the Drew Gulak-Zack Sabre match had, and they just couldn't because Noam Dar doesn't have the intensity of Drew Gulak. But outside of that, and there were a couple of clumsy moments where it seemed a little bit clumsy, but outside of that, I thought this was a really, really good match. Pretty much great match. Gave it 4 stars. Great back and forth. Sabre would work on the arm of Noam Dar. Noam Dar would work on the knee of Zack Sabre. Of course, both men looking for their big finishes. Just really, really good stuff. Great submission transition wrestling where you'd see an arm bar into a triangle, or a triangle into a knee bar, or something like that. Really, really good transitional wrestling. In the end, really, really fantastic finish. Noam Dar would be caught by Zack Sabre Jr. in an omniplata, which, because the arm of Zack Sabre Jr. had also been injured, he could not lock the right arm, which he had, which was the forearm. So instead, he pulled the arm back with his leg and would lock it between his legs. So both legs were between Zack Sabre Jr.'s legs. He was hyperextending the arms. Noam Dar immediately says, "I give up." Zack Sabre Jr. advances to the semi-finals to face Grand Metalik. Great matchup. I think 3 3/4 stars. Really, really good matchup. By far the best performance from Noam Dar in the tournament. A guy who, honestly, I was very hard on because I felt like in the last 8 he had the least impressive run. But that's because he had 2 very green wrestlers. He had one of the Sierra brothers and Ho-Ho Loon, who was incredibly green. So this matchup here really did showcase Noam Dar. It was really, really good for him. He was really, really good in it. 3 3/4 stars. Really, really good matchup there. And then the main event, Rich Swann against TJ Perkins. The crowd were thoroughly behind Rich Swann. There was a little bit of comedy at the beginning as both men would dab each other. It was the jewel of dabbing, or whatever Mauro Ranallo said. But great commentary in this matchup from Daniel Bryan. He really focused on the knee of Rich Swann, which would get injured as he went for a moonsault to the outside. Every time he hit a kick, he would always hit it with the uninjured leg, which I really, really like. That's great attention to detail. There were a couple of spots which I didn't like because Swann forgot to sell the leg. He was doing like the rolling five-star frog splash. He did a moonsault where he just kind of forgot to sell the leg. He went for a cover and then sold the leg, but it just annoyed me a little bit. He did a Falcon's Arrow where he kind of got to sell the leg. But his selling of the leg overall was very, very good, especially because he kept doing kicks with the opposite leg. But in the end, really good finish. Swann would go to run towards the ropes after hitting a big head kick on TJ Perkins. He fell over and then would go for the rolling DDT to TJ Perkins. TJ Perkins caught him with a big fireman's carry head kick and then would lock in the knee bar and fully lock in the TJP clutch. Swann would have to tap out, and I love the finish. Immediately as the bell rings, TJ Perkins breaks the hold and like cradles the head of Rich Swann like, I'm so sorry, I had to do that, but I wanted to win and I have a family and I need to feed them, and that was a really, really good finish. Really enjoyed that. 3 3/4 stars again. Very, very good matchup. I don't think any of these matches were as good as the 2 matches last week. The show overall wasn't as good as the show last week, but still a very, very good show. And what's great about the Cruiserweight Classic is that I can stop being an analytical jackass and just watch it and enjoy it as a fan. And because Raw and SmackDown are so complicated and there's so much stuff you have to cover, I have to be an analytical jackass. But here with Cruiserweight Classic, because it's simple storylines, it's if you win, you're through. If you're out, if you lose, you're out. And it's very, very simple, and it's awesome, and I love the Cruiserweight Classic, and I love professional wrestling because I love the Cruiserweight Classic. So anyway, that was Cruiserweight Classic in NXT for the week. NXT was a good show this week. Cruiserweight Classic was, of course, a very good show. Not as good as last week, but 2 very, very good matches. 3 3/4 stars to both matches. I think I preferred the main event more. I preferred the finish. I loved the TJP breaking the hold immediately and cradling Swann's head. But anyway, now it's time to predict Backlash 2016. And a pay-per-view I'm honestly not looking forward to. I couldn't care less about most of the card. I care about the Heath Slater match. And I care about... I couldn't really care about any of it outside maybe the main event. Anyway, let's get into it. We start off with The Miz against Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. The Miz should win here. It seems like Dolph Ziggler are going to build up to finally win as a babyface. They're not going to turn him heel. They should really turn him heel. He's not getting over as much as a babyface. You need to turn him heel. But plus you do need another big heel, and he could really help. You know, his main event in pay-per-views is the heel, you know, against John Cena. So, in the end, The Miz will retain here through shenanigans, I imagine, which is just going to present Miz as even more of a coward. I think Miz should win clean, but that's not what they're going to do. The Miz to retain the Intercontinental title, regardless. Randy Orton against Bray Wyatt. This is an interesting one. This could go either way, I think. But in the end, Randy Orton got destroyed at the last pay-per-view. Bray Wyatt wasn't on the last pay-per-view. Randy Orton should really win here. If Bray Wyatt won, I wouldn't really care. But Randy Orton really should win here. He did get destroyed at the last pay-per-view. And Bray Wyatt should put up a fight. He shouldn't kick out of an RKO, though. The RKO is a good move to put people away. But it should be a good matchup. I think this one's actually going to be better than I'm thinking it will be. Because I think, obviously, Bray Wyatt's a very good worker. Randy Orton's a very good worker when he cares. So I think this should be actually a pretty good matchup. We have the Usos against the Hype Bros in a matchup to determine who will advance to the finals of the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. I think this is very obvious. These are the teams. Okay, so this is the team that was beaten by Slater and Rhino against the team that lost in 25 seconds. The team that lost in 25 seconds is going to win because we don't need to see the Hype Bros and Slater and Rhino again. So I imagine the Usos will win. Will this be pre-show? There's only 6 matches announced. They can't have a match from the pre-show. God, I'm not looking forward to this show. But anyway, yeah, the Usos to win and advance on to the finals where they will face Heath Slater and Rhino. Now, the finals could go 2 ways. They could either get the Usos over as big heels by having them cheat to beat Heath Slater and Rhino and prevent Heath Slater from getting a contract, or they could do what I think we want and just Heath Slater wins and has the belts. They shouldn't hold the tag belts for very long, I don't think, because Heath Slater and Rhino aren't a tag team. They should be focusing on the tag teams in the division they have, the Vaudevillains, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, They should hold the belts for maybe a couple of weeks and then lose them to the Usos. But I still think the Heath Slater and Rhino should win, and I think they will win. Maybe with interference from Jason Jordan, who could help the team of Heath Slater and Rhino pick up a win over the Usos. It does make sense the Usos would lose. They will be competing in 2 matches. So Heath Slater and Rhino are my pick to win. The Women's 6-Pack Challenge, Elimination 6-Pack Challenge for the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship. You have Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Naomi, Natalya, and Nikki Bella. So I couldn't care who wins this matchup. I had that big rant in my SmackDown review talking about how these women have no character outside of maybe, ugh. Okay, let me roll out who isn't going to win. Alexa Bliss isn't going to win, Natalya isn't going to win, and Naomi isn't going to win. Naomi's had no build, she hasn't won a match going into the show. Alexa Bliss has, but she's been in the background in terms of the heel team. And, the heel women, Alexa Bliss has been in the background. And Natalya isn't going to win either. I feel like they want to push one of the other women. So it's down to Carmella, Nikki Bella, and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was my original thought, but I feel like she's just not been built. Like, she won a single matchup a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown, and that was a long time ago. Well, actually, no, she beat Alexa Bliss, didn't she? 3 weeks ago, so it wasn't that long ago. But I don't think they're going to go with Becky Lynch anymore. It'd be nice if they did. Becky Lynch is a really, really good professional wrestler. She's a really, really good wrestler. I just think she's just Irish. Nikki Bella is more likely to win. John Cena's girlfriend and all. But again, really, she just hasn't been built up. You know, she took the submission at SmackDown, which maybe means she is going to win. But I think I'm going to go with Carmella to win. And, out of the 6 women, I think I would like Carmella to win the most because she's at least got the most character going in. She's now a heel. She's got some sort of different attitude, which at least makes her somewhat interesting. So my prediction, I don't know if I want to go with Carmella, though, because I don't know if she's going to win. I'm going to go with Carmella. I'm going to go with Carmella to win. I would not be surprised if Becky Lynch or Nikki Bella won, but I'm going to go with Carmella. I'd be very shocked if Alexa Bliss, Natalya, or Naomi won, but I'm going to go with Carmella to be the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion. If you want to show you're in a new era, I guess you give it to someone new. And then the main event, AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Tough one to call. I think that AJ was my immediate thought, but because Ambrose's reign hasn't been too long, I don't know if they want to take the belt off him yet. Ambrose's reign started so great. He won the belt and Money in the Bank, and it was such a great moment, and then he defended it at Battleground, and it was an awesome moment. And then he just had the match with Ziggler at SummerSlam, which was basically just a match, and I overrated. And then, if he loses now, it'll seem like not a bad reign, but kind of a mediocre title reign. But I still think they're going to go with Styles. I know they're crowning 2 new champions, but I feel like AJ Styles can't lose, really. He's just come off beating John Cena. He really can't. He's just beat Dolph Ziggler as well, and Apollo Crews. So he really can't lose this. AJ Styles to be the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. How weird is that going to be? But anyway, that is my NXT and Cruiserweight Classic review, as well as my predictions for Backlash. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Rosslot. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think of this episode of the Cruiserweight Classic? What do you think to our final 4 men in the Cruiserweight Classic? What do you think to the fact that none of them are American? You've got a Mexican, a Japanese, a Filipino, and a Brit. What do you think to this week's NXT? What do you think to the team of Tony Nese and Arya Daivari? What do you think to Backlash? Who do you think is going to win the women's title? And who do you think will be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Rosslot.